Hello! I hope that you are enjoying your summer and having a good time at work and on vacation. I'm making this video as a way of networking. Why? Because yesterday I attended a chat with a counselor at the New York State Department of Labor to ask questions about the job search. And from this meeting with several counselors and other job seekers, I was informed that most important in job search is networking. And I asked the question, which I made a video about, that sometimes I'm overqualified. Well, could I reach out to some of my connections and people that I have worked with? I do this. I reach out via email or social media, and I made a video in the beginning of my job search with my ideal job, but I would like to make now a brief video again to summarize my experience briefly and what kind of a job I'm searching, and that if you have any job leads, please reach out to me either via LinkedIn messaging or via my email provided with my LinkedIn account, or you can find me on X, or with some of you I'm connected on Facebook. So through social media. I am a medical doctor, have an MD, and my MD is ECFMG certified after I took all of my USMLE tests. And when I was certifying my ECFMG, I had to take a clinical skills assessment test, which I took twice because I passed it the first time, but then it had to be renewed in 3 years. I took it again, and I'm certified by ECFMG permanently, and therefore I can be a resident in the US. I need some more residency in order to be board certified. And I'm also a scientist. After I did my MD, I did a PhD in immunology on monoclonal antibodies for in vivo human use. I studied anti-tumor and anti-lymphocyte monoclonal antibodies. And now we know these antibodies are used for immunotherapy, such as for Parkinson's disease and for Alzheimer's disease. And my PhD thesis was on the control of the efficacy and safety to determine that these antibodies are specific, therefore bind only to the antigen they are directed to and not cross-reacting antigens, and to determine there are no high molecular weight aggregates which could cause side effects, their purity, and several other tests. But most important was to determine the specific activity using several methods such as immuno-western blot and flow cytometry, and with biological tests. Subsequently, I have done a lot of academic research in neuroscience and in psychiatry, which is in my LinkedIn profile. And I have done both basic and clinical research on understanding the mechanisms of neurodevelopmental and neuropsychiatric disorders, and developing of new treatments for these disorders. I have studied a lot schizophrenia, bipolar depression, um, major depression, autism spectrum disorders, obsessive compulsive spectrum disorders, anxiety, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and rare disorders, namely rare syndromal forms of autism, which usually have a known genetic cause. And to mention, my skills are both in clinical medicine, a lot of skills in psychiatry because I have done residency in psychiatry and I have done a 3-year fellowship at Albert Einstein College of Medicine, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences with Professor Eric Hollander, where I developed treatments for autism spectrum disorders, depression, anxiety, and obsessive compulsive spectrum disorders. And I was a sub-investigator and primary coordinator on many clinical trials. I wrote grants, conducted clinical trials, evaluated the safety, therefore medical monitoring. I have also done data management, regulatory activities, written papers, and also I have skills in basic and translational biomedical science in mainly techniques as they are applied to neuroscience and immunology and molecular psychiatry, namely immunocytochemistry, immunohistochemistry, microscopy and imaging, cell culture, primary established cells, and in vivo work with mice. I am an expert in biochemical techniques such as SDS-Page, Western blot, Northern blot, Southern blot. I have done fax, a lot of stereotoxic injections in brain, and many other techniques which are indicated in my resume. And to say something about my ideal position would be in medical affairs in a pharmaceutical company to develop treatments for serious human disorders within the therapeutic areas of psychiatry, neuroscience, immunology. However, being a medical doctor, I'm also very interested in the heart and cardiology, knowing its intimate connection to the brain and the nervous system. I know that not always can I get my ideal position, and therefore I'm also interested in being a clinical scientist in a pharmaceutical company, for which I have a lot of experience from academia, having done clinical trials sponsored by large pharma companies such as Roche, Takeda, Sunovion, and others. I also have a lot of skills in medical writing, and therefore this is another type of job that I would love, a medical writing position in a pharmaceutical company. I also like research in the laboratory, and therefore, since I am flexible, I know a person cannot always get the job they want. I would love a job as a scientist either in academia or in a pharmaceutical company within, again, the areas of my expertise. And having searched for a job, I see that there are jobs such as a clinical research manager. There are also jobs as a clinical research coordinator, usually two, or senior clinical research coordinator for me in academia. And also another type of jobs that I could do are in non-profit organizations, such as being a medical or scientific director in a non-profit organization. And therefore, if you have any job leads or any advice, I will be very thankful if you let me know, because it's the best way to find the job through connection. Thank you so much for your attention, and wishing you a wonderful remainder of your summer.